Hello, pre-algebra students and algebra students. Well, we have made it to the second day of learning, and I know yesterday we had its ups and downs, and I don't want you to worry about that. I struggled also, and I really can see things coming around, so just take it one day at a time. I hope that you are joining me this morning on Tuesday, and that I will have this video ready for you earlier in the morning than yesterday so late. So anyway, something I wanted to remind you about is that it's so important that you follow our plan of learning. And our plan is this: Monday and Tuesday are video sessions, and then Wednesday is our practice session. So you come on, we'll be doing a lot of problems to make sure that you have all the concepts ready for the assignment so that you ace the assignment. And then Thursday you have off so you can finish your assignment. I will give it out on Wednesday after our session. And then Friday is usually a short session just to wrap it up, but this Friday is Good Friday. So we do not have school, and you do not have school. I do hope that you take the time to find a service to watch on the internet, and especially Easter morning. It is such a great blessing to be able to celebrate Easter. And I know we're in our homes, but it is a joyful time. He is risen. Jesus has suffered and died for our sins. And so we want to make sure that we really take advantage of that celebration. So don't let that get past you. Find a service where you can celebrate also. Some of this is going to seem kind of easy to you, but I do not want you to stop learning. I want you to really pick up on all the little things. So please take notes along with us. Make sure that you're learning it all so that you are going to ace your assignment and know everything perfectly, because everything will build on itself. Today will be much more difficult, but it still will be review, which is exactly what I want to make sure you know all the basics. When we start multiplying binomials, we start using algebra expressions with a lot more variables, and after a while we'll be using negative exponents. So we're going to be moving on to a little bit more difficult things, and I need you to know this basic stuff. Okay. I want to review just a real little bit about what we learned yesterday. And the biggest thing was that we had two steps. First, multiply the numbers, and then multiply the variables that are alike by adding their exponents. Okay, so we've got some problems behind me. Let's take a look at those. I hope you can read them from there. I'll try to pull this just a little bit closer. Okay, looks like we have a spotlight on there. And let's take a look. Okay, first ones. It says 2r squared negative x times negative x to the third times a negative 3r to the sixth power. Okay, so first of all, first step, going to multiply the numbers. And right away, I want to make sure that I realize there's a 1 there. Don't want to miss that negative also. Okay, so we've got 2 times a negative 1 is a negative 2. And then we're taking it times the negative 3. So negative times negative, here we had a positive times negative is negative 2 times negative. We've got a positive 6 here. Our r's, r squared, and over here I've got r6. So that's r, 2 plus 6, that's 8. And finally, x to the third is alone, so I'm just going to write it there. Box it up for Mrs. Razorberg. We're good to go. Over here, I thought I would throw in the fraction problem, just to remind you those do happen. They are a big part of our world. And first thing is that we're going to multiply the numbers. Easiest to do right now is left to right. We'll do the distributive today. So this number would go here with this one. So I've got 1/2 times 4 over 1. Put the 1 there only because there's a top and a bottom. So 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. Tops times tops, bottoms times bottoms, we know that. So I get 4/2, which equals 2, okay? Times 6 equals 12. Didn't lose any negatives, we are good to go. Next thing, variables. We've got y squared and y3. So I'm going to put it out here. y2 plus 3 is 5. And we've got an x there, stands alone. So I'm just going to put it in alphabetical order. If you can remember that, that's awesome. And there's my final answer. Okay, that's our review. We are moving into the distributive property. We're going to review the distributive property, and then we're going to add the monomials and all the exponents and all with it. So we are ready to head to our note sheets, 7-2. Hope you got that ready, or at least a piece of paper and a pencil, and maybe even a calculator if you've got it yet. Okay. Hey everybody, we're back now at our 7-2 notes page, and we are ready to talk about the distributive property. And as you can see, I'm going to highlight a few things right away. First of all, we're using the distributive property. Arrows are always a good idea to help you see what's going on with your problem and not make mistakes. And the other thing is we're going to talk again about PEMDAS and working inside the parentheses. Lastly, adding like terms at the end or inside the parentheses. So those things are going to come up. Let's take a look and see what we've got today. First thing is the example 5 parentheses 2x plus 5. Now, if you use your arrows, you'll see right away you're going to get 5 times 2 doing the numbers first, and that gives us 10x, and then we've got 5 times 5 is 25, which is right there for you. Really straight and simple, and I will tell you this, it looks so simple, but we really need to know all the little details, so keep watching for all the little details also. Example is this next problem. The idea is that now we have a number times 3 monomials. And inside the parentheses, which is where PEMDAS comes in, because P stands for parentheses, which is the very first thing we do, we look inside and we see 3n and 5n. And they are like terms because they both have just n to the 1. If they both had n2, then they would be also alike. So we've got then we can add those right away, which makes a little bit smaller problem. So I'm going to rewrite it. And I've got a negative 2 times 3n plus 5n is 8n. And 8n to the first power, okay, plus, and then we notice that we've got exponent, which is the second number or second letter in PEMDAS, and it's exponents. So 7 squared is 7 times 7. So I'm going to write here 49. So I've just rewrote my problem using PEMDAS, and I'm using it because something was in the parentheses, and that's the first thing. So I did that, and now I'm going to use the distributive on both of those. So I've got a negative 2 times 8 is a negative 16, and the n just comes down because there's no other variable there. And negative 2 times 49, I believe, is a negative 98. So now I can box it up. If you would have just multiplied that all out, all 3 of those using 49, and just kept them separate, in the end you would have had to add them and you would have gotten a negative 16n. So it all works out. Sometimes it's just easier to simplify it there and follow PEMDAS. Okay, next problem. We're going all the way across, multiplying the number first. So that gives me 4x squared. 4 times 1, x squared, plus 4 times 2 is 8x, just bringing down the x, and 4 times a negative 3 is a negative 12, and now I've got just the x to the third. Now you might want to pause just a minute and copy that down, especially if you've been writing this whole time. Just take a minute, get really good work here, put me on pause on this frame, and you're good to go. So now we move on to number 2, and we're going to multiply across again. We look inside this time, and we do see that there is a number 4 squared, which is 4 times 4. So I'm going to rewrite it real quickly. 5x squared plus a negative 3x plus 16. And now I'm ready to go. Negative 15x squared plus negative times negative, positive 9x plus negative 3 times 16 would be a negative 48. So we are good to go. Okay? we're going to circle number 3 and wait with it until Wednesday. Wait till Wednesday. And I'm going to stop this video right now, and I will give you, or you're going to want to go and start up 7-2B. This is the end of 7-2A.